block. Oh, there we go. It works now.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
Actually, I just heard that it's being recorded now, finally.
Okay. There we go. All right. It was like a permission thing.
Well, you had to get to the island. That's the problem. The signal had to get all the way to the island, Ron. That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, you're out there, man. You're like past Maine, dude. Like, I didn't even know that side. This is how crazy it is. You're 1 hour east of New York.
I'm 1 hour east. Yes, that is true. But I'm not an hour and a half east, because that would be Newfoundland.
Oh, really? Oh, that's even further. Oh my God.
That's even further.
You broke my brain with that kind of geography. I didn't know anything was east of New York. I thought we were going to England after that. Anyway, it's crazy. All right,
you're hurting somebody else's brain. I'm not sure who he is, but his head is hurting. I can see it.
Oh, definitely, yeah. All right, here we are, Shop Class Podcast. This is going to be like a roundtable wrap up of what it was like to be at JLC, Journal of Light Construction in Rhode Island last weekend. It was a blast. I got to meet so many people that I'm internet friends with, and basically, we're just going to go around the room and ask. What did you, why did you go to JLC? Like, what'd you learn? Something new? And who did you see? And recommendations for next year. From my world, it's like going to the moon. I had no idea what to expect. I mean, I know it was a trade show, but I've never been to a builder trade show because I'm always going to the car stuff like SEMA and all the energy stuff, battery stuff, and whatnot. But I've never been to a building and trade show. So let's roll around. We got some good people in the house. We got Matt Bloomquist, and as you know, he's building a house with his students. Say what's up, Matt.
What up, Matt?
There you go. And we got Nick, upstate New York, high school shop teacher. How you doing?
Good.
All right. We got Chris is new to the podcast, Live Free Contracting. Got to meet him up there at JLC. How you doing?
Hey guys, how are you?
Okay. Winston Davis, Alaska, right?
Roger that. Yep, up here in Alaska.
Okay. Roy is over in California. I'm jealous. Is it awesome over there? Probably, right? He's in Southern California, I think. He's muted, I think.
Sorry, I stepped away because you guys were talking about a conference I didn't go to, so I could file some things, and then I heard California's nice.
I got you back in. Yeah, it was the Journal of Light Construction, JLC live in Rhode Island last weekend. And it was great. Got to see a lot of passive house stuff, a lot of good building techniques. And I know you're a woodworker, so that would have been pretty cool. They got some good framing going on and whatnot, a T-stud and whatnot. So it was pretty cool. We
certainly have milder weather, so I mean, passive techniques make sense in California. You can really just plant a tree, and that'll cut. If it's dropping its leaves at the right time, that's gonna change the house temperature by 5 degrees, and that'll be a big difference.
That's so funny, and it's beautiful. It's nice and cool at night, and it's warm during the day. It's great. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, I guess there's like these zones. The New England, Northern Canada zone has to deal with this. This is like
it's completely different when you're 1 hour east of Ron. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Awesome. And that's Aaron, Big Dog Construction. He's been on the show before. Pretty cool. And we got Duke down in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, but it's
shop teacher.
Still like in the 20s over here, so I feel like I'm in Canada.
It's super cold. It was so cold this week. It was like 30 degrees. I was walking around with a spring jacket. I couldn't believe I made a mistake.
Come join us. It's still ski season up here.
Oh, really? Where are you located, Chris?
I am 3 hours north of Vancouver, so we're out in Kamloops, BC.
Wow, dude. Oh, man, I'm jealous. Ski season ended here. Oh, man. It was so hot, and then it got cold again.
Yeah, like the first time we had spring, the snow melted. Now we're back to winter. We have like 2 or 3 more of these, but there's no snow on the mountain.
Yeah, it's done. So all right,
It's
so let's.
super weird for me because I grew up in the generation where Canada changed to metric. So I understand what a mile is. I can think in miles. Um, we measure everything in kilograms, but I have no idea what a kilogram is. I know exactly what a pound is, but we measure everything in Celsius for temperature. And like I kind of know what Fahrenheit is, but like the nuances are lost, right?
I see, yeah.
If you say it's 104 in the shade, I know it's hot, right? But for me to tell you that it's, minus 10 Celsius converts to this, but 68 is room temperature, so we'll get through it.
It's so funny. It's so true. Like when someone in Australia says, "Oh man, it's so hot. It's 40 degrees." I'm like, "Wow. All right. That would be freezing here." you know, totally different. What's up, Tim? Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up? I was just outside at baseball practice.
Oh, yeah, it's spring is in the house. Yep.
Yep.
And it was freezing, right?
It was pretty cold. I was dressed warm. My toes are definitely cold.
It's so funny. They start the season even if it's cold. I remember beginning of baseball season was always so cold. Oh my God.
Dude, now it's like that they should flip schedules because it's warmer in the fall than it is in the spring for these sports.
I was just gonna say that they should play baseball in the fall and then soccer in the spring because of the weather.
Soccer, what's that? Are you in Canada too?
Yeah.
That's good. All right, so let's go around. Maybe since Chris has never been on the show, we'll just start with him. Maybe give us a little background. Chris, tell us about Live Free Contracting and why did you go to JLC?
Well, a little bit about me. We are a small builder just out in Kamloops, BC. We do new construction and renovations as well as some commercial renovations too. So it's just the two of us. I got an older gentleman working with me and we build as much as we want to build every year. And our focus has kind of been on the higher performance stuff the past couple of years. And we've kind of been starting to really dive into this whole world, and to be honest, it's still a new world for me, and I've loved to connect with people on Instagram, especially too. It's been great to kind of meet guys and connect with guys like Aaron who have taught me this whole new world of building higher quality homes. So it's been a cool experience for sure. And JLC is my first complete show. I had never been to a trade show before, period. So mind blown. It was a wild experience, to be honest. I had no idea what to expect, but I think just the connections and meeting people there and the interactions and feeling a little bit normal after a crazy couple of years has been such a little bit of a blessing. And I know Aaron and we've done a couple of trips together, but this was our first trade show together and we had a hoot. It was a great time and we appreciate all the connections we made and getting to meet yourself, bro. It was awesome.
That's great. That's great. This video is a good video. Nice one. It's funny. I didn't take that many. I took some photos, but I really didn't take that many. I absolutely agree. It was really the connections that were awesome. You got to meet the people that you're following and connecting with, which was so cool.
100%.
Yeah.
Definitely going next year. Aaron and I have already had this discussion. It's in the calendar. The wives know we're heading to the JLC 2023.
Nice. Did they put up the dates yet?
I believe so, if I'm not mistaken.
Where's it at next year?
Should still be in Rhode Island, if I'm not mistaken. Aaron, you want to correct me if I'm wrong?
So in the past, they've typically done JLC live in 3 locations. Rhode Island is the big one. That's always the big one. So we could see something like a little further out west in the U.S. but everything's kind of still sitting on the fence right now. So if they have launched official dates, I'd check back in a little bit just to make sure. But Rhode Island's the big one. Sorry, what's that?
I was gonna say the JLC pre-parties in Vegas this year for IBS.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Ooh.
Oh, because IBS.
There we go.
Yeah, IBS was in Orlando, and now it's going to be in Vegas.
Yeah, and into January.
I don't know if I'm gonna make Vegas or not, but I do have a plan for the next one in Orlando. See,
Nice.
I have grandkids that are going to be old enough, and Chris's young Harper is going to be old enough. We might just go to Disney World.
Oh, there you go.
Disney World. Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
Yeah, Carmen and I hit up Disney World on Friday after it was all done.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
nice.
You better
That's what
take
most
out
people do.
take out a small mortgage.
Yeah, we went with no kids.
Still expensive.
Yeah. Now it says here you had to take like a whole bunch of flights to get here. Man, why did you have to take 3 flights?
Dude, I live in the middle of nowhere. Let's be real here. I live 3 hours north of Vancouver. It's a little
Oh my
farther
God.
out, and yeah, we don't have an international airport, so I did. It was it was actually much shorter getting there than coming back. Coming back took me nearly 20 hours.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I thought I had a bad trip coming back. Oh man.
Yeah, it was a long haul, bro. But it was worth it. That's what I gotta keep telling myself when you're sitting in an airport full of delays. It was worth it. So
Nah, it was totally worth it. It was awesome. I mean, come on. How many people from like Instagram did you meet? Like at least 10, right?
oh yeah, I know Joe, Aaron, and I have done quite a few bit of trips together now, and there was a whole other world of Instagram guys I had briefly connected with, but I didn't expect anyone to be there, and we had a bit of a hoot. It was fun setting up the Diamondback booth, tearing that down, kind of doing the exhibitors stuff, and seeing a little bit of the behind the scenes of the exhibit and not just kind of walking the floor, right? But it was cool connecting with guys who you just have these discussions with, and a lot of these discussions are pretty in depth, especially too. Some of us kind of go into some of our projects and detailings, and you have these conversations with so many different individuals, and then to just put a face to the name you've talked to for months or years on end, you just continue the conversation like you've been buds forever. It's like nothing ever happened, and it was such a cool experience in that way to just be able to pick off like nothing ever happened. So
That's so funny. And they say social media is bad. Of course, there's bad parts of social media, but yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Like I got to meet all the Instagram people that are on the Shop Class podcast that went to the show or went to the JLC. I was like, wow, this is awesome. Now, I see here you tagged Canadian Carpenter. I don't know him. I just connected right now.
Joe is an amazing individual. That guy has single-handedly, and he doesn't give himself enough credit, he has done so much behind the scenes with the social media world for the construction industry. And if you don't follow him, Canadian Carpenter. The dude just cares, and he is such a wizard when it comes to building, and he's been building for longer than I've been alive. And that's the thing. He's an OG. He knows his stuff, and he wants to do good. And that I was fortunate enough to do a little bit of traveling with him and meet him last year with Aaron, and he's a great dude. Definitely someone to follow and someone to keep track of, because dude's going places. Hopefully one day we'll see him teaching out there, right?
Wow, absolutely. And it's such a cool thing because like everybody's just trying. I feel like I get the vibe. Everybody's just trying to help each other. The last time I got like that vibe before I started doing Shop Class Podcast was in the electric conversion. If you take a car and you change it to electric, the people that do it are usually cool, and believe it or not, they're actually into hot rodding. They like cars, but they like having an option, and they're very supportive. So over the years, I've met all these hot rodders that got into the electrics, and the community is awesome. And so it's great to know that in the building community, buildings and trades and carpentry and whatnot, there's that same vibe where everybody's like, here, let's just help each other. And we're all going to rise up. A rising tide lifts all boats. It's a pretty cool thing.
100%, dude. Especially too, I haven't been doing this long like a lot of these guys here, but from what I've seen, there's a need for people in the trades right now. And if guys like us can help inspire some of these younger guys to kind of get excited, and that we don't live roughneck hard lives, like we enjoy ourselves, we feed our families, and we love what we do. We're passionate about building, and that passion is really what excites us every day. And to me, this isn't a job, man. I get to do what I love every day.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's super cool. That comes across. That's awesome. Can you guys tell me, maybe you guys can help me, because I saw some of this, and this is Mike. Actually, I saw Mike when he was doing the Unbuild It podcast. I don't know much about Mike. Can you guys tell me a little bit?
So Mike Slogat has been doing JLC Live since, well, it wasn't even J, if that makes sense. Okay.
Okay.
He is one of the original guys. He's not the original, but he's one of the original guys to take learning on the road. Gary Katz kind of made it happen, but Mike Slogat was there with him and part of that team. So these guys, like 40 years ago, were going to lumber yards and putting shows on.
Huh.
And yeah, like he's been helping teach the industry for a very long time. And yeah.
Dude's a straight up legend. Yeah. Straight up legend.
Like, how do you talk about a legend? I mean, it just
yeah.
Well, the guy is 68 and he's still killing it.
Wow, it looks
at trade
great.
shows and teaching people. Like, I was very fortunate, and the last day of the show, Chris, Joe, and I, we were able to share a little bit of private conversation over a drink with Mike, and there's still nuggets. The guy is still handing out knowledge.
It gives you the goosebumps. It gives us the goosebumps. Like, he's just been there. He has pioneered so much. And again, it's guys like this who are trying to hand the reins off to the younger generations so that the rest of us can be successful for years to come, because he knows what it takes. And I guarantee you, him on a job site can out hustle almost anyone still to this day.
Between him, Gary Katz, and Mike Girton, that is all of them are in their 60s, right? Maybe even close to 70s. I forget how old Mike Girton is. And like Chris just said, those dudes would make all of us together look silly. And they're so good at explaining and teaching everything. So Mike Girton, he's one of them that's like given my name with Fine Home Building and things like that, and got me connected. And I've met Mike in person twice, and we've been on online things. And when I meet him in person, every time, even though I know him and I've spoken with him, I go in that's where I almost go into like the celebrity thing. Like if I met a movie star, I'd be like, oh my God, this is pretty cool. But like talking to Mike Girton, and then when he gives you a little bit of praise, you about it gets about as good as it gets. Like it compliments from those guys and recognition from those guys or appreciation, because those guys are so, like, I wish I could teach just cutting a board as well as those guys could teach cutting a board. Like it's incredible. Like they like I said, they've been doing this. Well, for me, they've been doing this since, I was before in the womb even. So me and Chris, at least, 41 years old, and they already had 20 some years on me. So when they say legends, Ron, they ain't joking. Mike Gurton's the other one they'd add to that list right there, and just phenomenal. And they just teach it and talk about it so effortlessly. And they're almost 70 years old, and they're probably in better shape than any of us combined. Like, it's insane.
Amazing.
It's the number one reason that I went to JLC this year is I had got onto Instagram, and we won't get into the whole long story of how I got onto Instagram, but you're throwing stuff out there, and you don't know if you're really contributing, right? You really don't. And Mike Guchern reached out to me on Instagram, and he said, you need to do this. You need to submit this to Fine Home Building. And we connected through Instagram. I'd read his articles for probably 25 years. And then all of a sudden, this guy who's somewhat of a legend is saying, no, you need to do this. And yeah, you can ask Chris, with everything going on, Mike Guchern had a class at 7:30, and realistically speaking, there probably wasn't going to be much I was going to learn in that class. Mike Guchern said, hey, maybe why don't you show up a half hour early so we can talk? So at 7 a.m., I was there, right? Because, it's like you're being summoned by the Godfather, right?
So true,
awesome.
man. So true.
Wow.
And I was a little kid in the candy store, and I'm not a little kid. I'm going to be 49 this year, but still, it just legends. They are legends. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, it truly is an honor, right, Aaron, when they talk to you, and it's because they're such normal, down to earth guys, and when they're like, I just remember, well, in fact, at IBS, Mike was one of the first people I ran into, and in fact, I made a point to make sure I went and said bye to him. I was like excited to introduce my wife, like, Carmen, this is Mike Gurton. For her, it's just this guy named Mike. For me, I'm like, you got to meet this guy. You should be very excited about this. But yeah, they're so great. So great.
Me and Mike have done all this stuff together because of Instagram, Fine Home Building, whatever. We did International Flashing Awareness Day last year, Flash Me Day. And, there's all this stuff going on, but you've never actually met in person. And then you meet in person, and he's like talking to an old friend.
This is awesome. It's amazing to me. I love this. I think it's such a cool thing because, coming from like, this is basically the point of the Shop Class podcast is like, I'm just like a guy who teaches in a neighborhood in New Jersey, and I teach some sort of combination of auto and metal. And then when I start reaching out and get out of the box of the shop teacher, start reaching out and you get into the Instagram, and it's real. So like when you make these connections, but then you get to the show and you actually get to interact with all these people, it's very inspiring. You come back to work and you're like, man, all these kids, I can teach them stuff and I can help them with connections. And it's a big inspiration, knowing that, that a shop teachers have the support of an industry that is excited to be in that industry. Like, imagine that kind of excitement was like shown to you early on, like And you know what I mean? It's just like, I feel like there's some sort of insulation to the young kids coming up, and it shouldn't be there. So I'm glad you guys talk about it, about how good it is and how much fun you're having. Obviously it's hard work, but that's everything, so it's great to hear all this. I really appreciate you guys sharing all this stuff. Cool.
What I would offer is we all have more value than we know. And that in itself was a humbling experience to understand. But yeah, we all have more value than we know.
I can dig it. And I saw you on stage with Ben.
That's right. You were there.
That was awesome. And you're wearing your Flash Me shirt. So
yeah, Ben kind of put me on the spot, but I don't know if I deserved that or earned that, but either way, it was fun.
There's Steve. We'll get to Steve. You know, it's funny. So he was doing, you gotta understand, like, I know nothing. So he's doing this, how to flash your, I guess, what do they call it? Protrusions or whatever, basically the holes. Yeah. And to me, I'm like, oh yeah, you just cover it or something, And he's like, no, actually the water sits on it. And so you want to tip it to the diamond. You guys see this diamond over here? You want to tip it to the diamond so the water rolls off. And I'm like, oh yeah, I was like, that's kind of interesting. And he starts talking about capillary effect. And all these little black squares or whatever, they're like specialized tape. And he had like 20 different products. He's like, all right, look, this one works kind of like this. And here's the advantage. And look, this one's kind of like this. And you got to watch out for this thing, but it kind of works like this. I was blown away. Like, I don't build houses. So I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. And I was actually thinking about when you put wires through the firewall on a car, or you're doing something like that, oh, hey, here we go. Build smalls in the house. I think this is Mark, right? Yes. So it was amazing to watch the passion and and very much on point. Ben's got the mic. I mean, he's like Britney Spears out there, he's just kind of like doing it, So, he's rocking and rolling. Basically, the cool thing is, like, my takeaway was interesting. It's like there are rock stars in the building and trades industry. So cool. Like, that is definitely insulated from the general public. Like, I feel like we somehow have to get that into the public's eye. I know they got these shows or whatever, but I don't think people realize it's not just Mike Rowe on TV. It's actual builders doing actual work, leading of their industry. It's pretty cool.
Hey, Ron, I did reach out to Ben for tonight. He just had too much going on tonight, but he does want to come on to the show sometime. And I mean, Aaron and these guys will tell you too about Ben. Like, and you said it, if Mike and Gary are the legends, Ben is definitely a rock star. Because and he'll be a good one to have on here, because I can't remember his whole story. If he quit high school, dropped out of high school, but problem was he had problem in high school, not because he was a problem child, but because he is so freaking smart. Like, he's like PhD level smart guy in high school. Like, the dude just oozes information. And yeah, he and then my son's yelling.
I've had a couple conversations with Ben, and he's a third generation high performance builder. And one of his hobbies is collecting data from the sensors that he places in the wall assemblies and the roof assemblies. Like, honestly, he loves what he does. You can tell that. But if he wanted to be a brain surgeon or work for NASA, yeah, he could have. Like,
wow,
yeah, the dude is smart.
Yeah,
wizard.
It's interesting you brought up the sensors, because I remember him saying that, and I think that's when it clicked for me, because I sat down and I didn't know what to expect. You know, I'm just like, all right, the guy's going to go over covering holes. I'm like, okay, you know. And then he starts talking about sensors in the building and collecting data and capillary effect and whatnot. I was like, oh, wow, this is kind of interesting.
How far can water travel in concrete, Ron?
7 miles. I remember that. Yeah. So if you have, so I guess that's the physics of it. They were talking about the capillary effect. If you had water traveling up a column, a concrete column, did I get this right? And it would keep going 7 miles until it would stop. Wow, that's like unbelievable. It's incredible. I guess, yeah, because surface tension. It's funny because when I teach welding, my little crash course on welding, I talk about surface tension and capillary effect and whatnot, because what people, new beginner welder, what they always do is they'll show you a bunch of boogers. Like, it literally looks like someone like blazed like a snot, like and it's just a bunch of boogers. It's actually a highly technical term. It's called bird shit welding. And it looks like birds just pooped on top, And what happens is they don't realize you need all the welds to be like one worm. You want them all to be together, and otherwise you have an area for entry. And it's the same thing with the houses. You got to make sure you cover everything and control your moisture. Otherwise, you're leaving moisture will find its spot, or the crack or the chink in the armor, the weakest link is going to get found. And I really appreciate that translate. I can understand the level of detail that you guys tackle here, especially you have to do this outside and clients and building materials and costs and trucks delivery. That's not easy to do,
So Ron, I want to show off how smart I am, since we have people from different provinces here. 7 miles of concrete is about 12 kilometers. So it's just.
Thanks for the conversion, Mark.
Yeah, I have a tape measure. It's an old Stanley, and it shows me kilometers. It's great. So I got that dialed in, guys. No worries. You thought Ben was smart. I'm a smart ass.
You pronounced about wrong, though.
About.
A boot.
Yeah, he didn't say it a couple of times either.
Hey,
Mark, remember, it's always better to be a smart ass than a dumbass. So
That's what my family taught me.
This is so funny.
I'm getting a kick out of this. Duke and Tim, we missed you down there. Nick, we missed you as well. But if you notice, the folks that were there, Chris got some swag from Aaron, Rhode Island swag, and Ron got some London swag,
Oh, yeah.
and Aaron got some Jersey swag.
Yeah, intelligent membranes.
Yeah, I don't even have any shop class podcast, paraphernalia.
Oh, it's on its way.
we're working on it, Tim.
Oh, it's on its way.
It's in the mail.
To be fair, Mark, I have some swag for you.
The post
I have
office
swag.
was closed, Tim. I went to the post office. It was closed.
It's in the mail. Don't call us. We'll call you.
Yeah. Yeah. For all the guys that I didn't get anything for yet, you guys want hats or shirts? You just let me know your size and I will get it to you.
Actually,
Wait. Ron, there was hats?
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
hats?
Oh, yeah.
Mark has it.
Well, there was only a few. Only a few. But I'll get more. Absolutely.
so what happened was Canadian Carpenter came. No one saw him. Ron gave a big box of shop class supplies to Canadian Carpenter, and he's supposed to go to the post office. So we'll find out.
I could see Ron just walking into JLC with like this huge duffel bag, like Santa Claus, right? And he's like, "Who wants my stuff? Who wants my stuff? I'm gonna hand out my stuff." By the way, where do you live? I'm gonna look for you on Google Maps.
Oh, I got
Oh my God! You just went there. Here we go, Ron.
I got
Why
the
don't
map
you show
ready.
us the drive that Aaron had to take from Graham and Ann all the way to Rhode Island on Google Maps.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Ron. Fire up Google Maps. Let's go.
All right, here we go.
So,
Chris?
so for full disclosure, guys, I was kidding about Canadian Carpenter. I got to meet Joe. Many of you are connected with him on Instagram, and he was amazing. It's just so interesting when you're able to meet people in person, how much better it is than meeting them online. I can't say the same about Aaron, but it was definitely the same about Chris and Joe.
Oh, thanks, Mark. We love you, bud.
Marginal thanks. That's all I have. Marginal thanks.
That's an adequate thank you, right?
Well,
That's funny.
Mark is an adequate friend. So
I was trying to find when I got there. I was trying to find Mark, and which is cool meeting Mark for the first. It's funny. It's like you know him. It's like you're online so many times. You're just like, hey, all right, what's up, man? It's great. So I'm looking around. He's like, okay, I'm on this floor somewhere, and I'm walking around, and I'm like, I can't find him anywhere. I'm like, forget it. I'll find him later. I was like, I can't find him. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm just going to go look outside this window, get the view. And all of a sudden, I'm like, hey, there he is. I see the beard. I'm like, oh, this is great, man. It worked out,
He's
'cause
a
the
lot
show was-
taller in person, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's tall.
I was wearing heels. I mean, it's a show, right?
It's funny. It's great meeting so many people in person, and then everybody's all gathering together. We found that was cool. You had like a little pocket. He's running I meet him and he's already got a show going on. What show was that? That was Dave Cooper Live at 1 p.m.
That was the BS Friday Live. Yep.
Yeah, BS Friday Live. That was awesome. That was a lot of fun. Hey, so Chris, you're up here, man. Up here? What?
Right.
I'm not gonna. Don't give us your address.
I am in Kamloops, BC.
Where is that? Am I in the right spot?
Yeah, you're pretty close. Just
They spell that with metric letters, Ron. It's really, really tough.
It's over there by Russia.
Yeah,
we're not too far.
Oh my god. Basically, you're here.
It's about 2 hours north of Vancouver.
People don't realize that Kamloops is a desert. Like, we're pretty extreme out here for our climate. We're plus 40 in the summer to minus 40 in the winter.
That's amazing.
Celsius. Not
And
Fahrenheit.
So what town is close? One of these? Houston?
No, it's a little bit more south than that. If you find Vancouver, you should be not too far.
right next to Houston. Go to Houston and just slightly north.
Oh, right here.
Houston, we have a live free.
Wow, look at this. Oh my god.
That's Houston.
That is amazing.
Why in the world does Canada have a Houston? Didn't we already make a mess of it in Texas?
Yeah, basically. All right, that's cool. Now wait, Winston's on here right now, and he is in Alaska, but I guess that's pretty far from here. Yeah, that's pretty. It's so amazing. I don't know. To me, I'm like amazed at like how far out the like we're talking on the internet of people like around the world. It's so cool.
I can relate to Kamloops a lot more than I can relate to you guys on the East Coast. Like Kamloops really, I'm sure he knows where like Prince Rupert is. That's a few hours away, really.
Oh yeah,
Telegraph
you're
East
closer
Rupert.
to me than everyone else. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, actually, I could go up the Stikine River and I'll be in British Columbia in an hour. So, yeah.
Really?
Telegraph. Yeah.
Looks like I'm gonna go visit Winston. You guys are too far away on the East Coast.
Come on over, man. Hey, my wife's Canadian, so I get your accent and all your little intricacies there. So
perfect. You'll know us, man.
yeah.
Yeah, Winston. Meet Chris. Winston teaches shop class in Alaska. What now? You teach high school welding?
Well, I got to teach it all. It's a small school. I mean, I live on an island here, so I teach everything from wood shop to CAD to boat building, welding. So like, there's the boats we're building right there. So the weld shop.
Building?
So yeah.
Wow.
So
I appreciate island life, Winston. I appreciate island life.
yeah, it's different, isn't it?
Is that a
So, yeah,
stainless
so this is-
steel boat hull? Is that stainless steel?
No, it's aluminum.
Oh, that's
yeah.
awesome. I didn't know you're building a whole aluminum boat. That's so cool.
Yeah, no, this one we started, this one right here, we started last year and we ran out of time, and then this girl's building this year, and I hope we don't run out of time on it because she's a senior. So, but this is kind of the hallmark program here. It was here when I was in school, when I was a student here, and kind of carry it on here. So,
Wow, that's super impressive,
Awesome.
dude. I think we got to do a whole podcast just about your program. I mean, that's really cool.
well,
You need to learn how to
I'm
build a
I'm new to it. This is only my second year, and my high school shop teacher, he started this program in the 80s, and he's one of my best friends. And after I have a biology degree, like I was a science teacher, right? So after college, I'm like, man, you got to show me how to weld again, and that led into building a boat in my garage, and then several more, and then I became a shop teacher. So yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
want
know
to
what?
come out just to see you build an aluminum boat.
Oh,
And
man.
that's a trip for me.
I might make a trip out north to see you,
On it.
Winston. That's pretty sweet, bud. Good on you.
Hey, come on out, man. It's almost time to go fishing.
Oh
Dude.
yeah, you're up. Yeah, that's the right spot to be.
Connections happening.
Chris?
Yeah.
Chris.
Right.
Yeah?
Aaron, no.
Yeah?
You get enough lobster out that way. Winston and I are gonna go enjoy a bit of Alaska, all right? You stay out east there. You're too far. I'll get all the fish then.
Too many times on the way there.
But you got to be Canadian, eh?
This is
Not me.
great. Can you imagine these connections? This is so cool. So now when you guys do this boat, I'm very curious. Do you start with flat sheet that gets delivered?
Yeah. It comes from Seattle and down in Washington. It comes up on the barge, and it's just 5 foot by 20 foot sheets of aluminum, 1/8 inch. Actually, it's mostly 1/8 inch, but there's some 1/6 and 3/16. But and
God.
there's no plans. I mean, they're not kit boats, so they're pretty
So
cool.
hold on. It's 3/16 by 5 feet by 25-foot aluminum sheet.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys can see this here. So these are the sheets right here. Right. So that's 5 foot wide by 20 feet long. So yeah.
Has everyone heard the sound it makes when you're working with aluminum?
Oh, like thunder. If you hold the sheet, is that what you're talking about?
No, when you're actually connecting the two sheets.
Oh, when you're welding it
It's a weird sound.
like that.
It's different
right?
weld.
The
It's
AC
definitely
going
different
back
weld
and
and
forth.
steel.
Yeah.
Are you doing TIG welding or are you doing MIG with a wire spool?
This is all just with a spool gun. So yeah, MIG.
Oh, cool. So they got
Oh.
the spool gun right in your hand.
Oh yeah. So they're the old Miller 30A.
There you
So,
go.
Yep.
That's cool. And are you running DC or AC?
I guess they're
I can't remember.
I don't know.
think
I guess it's. I mean, when you're TIG welding, it's AC. When I turn the machine on, I don't know. I guess it's AC. So I'm not sure what the sine wave is there.
I got to double check. They were welding aluminum at the metal supermarket the other day where I do the classes. I got to check on that spool gun. I haven't done any spool gun stuff like in your hand. That's pretty cool. That's a great program. You have a huge brake. Where's your brake, man?
It's not that big. It's actually just a sheet metal brake. It's an 8-footer, but there's a couple boat builders in town, and they got a 12-foot big hydraulic brake. If it's too big for this, or if I can't bend 3/16 in this or 1/6, so I'll bring it down to them and have them do it on the brake down there.
This is great, man. That's cool.
Super sweet.
I mean,
Winston.
You have
totally
a
different.
senior.
Pardon?
I was just saying you have a girl that's a senior that's building the boat in the corner right now.
Yeah. She's a pretty amazing kid. She ran cross country, went to state for cross country. Took we have girls wrestling is huge in Alaska right now. She's a state champion, whatever, girls wrestler for 3 years in a row now. She just got back from playing basketball. They took a second at state, and she's at the same time building this boat. So the deal is the kids got to pay for the materials, and with the price of aluminum right now, there's probably $4,000 of material into that. But it's kind of the going rate rule of thumb for a boat like this in town is about $1,000 a foot. So if one of the boat builders in town built this, they'd sell it for 20 grand. Now, I don't expect that she's going to get this. She's actually building this to sell so she can, raise money to buy a car in college or something like that. But anyhow, it's pretty cool. So she's a hard worker. So, yeah.
Hey, Chris, do you want to buy an aluminum boat made by a runner, wrestler, basketball player, and welder? I mean, sounds like a deal.
Oh yeah, done.
We'll throw it on the ferry, and you can trailer it from Prince Rupert to Kamloops.
Oh, I think some more entertaining videos would be watching Aaron boat all the way down from Alaska down to me for the delivery. I think I could get some good videos out of that.
Yeah,
man. This is cool. That is great. Well, Winston,
All right, I'll put this out there then. If Chris buys it, I will come out and deliver it to Chris.
there you go. Man.
all right.
Good luck getting a motor right now. The motors are like a year behind, so you might put some oars on it. There you go, and do it old school.
I'll answer the challenge. Nick can make the paddles for Aaron to get there.
There you go. Yeah.
Nice. This is great. Yeah,
Yeah,
Winston.
Timmy can spin those on the way.
Yeah.
It'll be a whole shot class podcast collaboration of
We should totally do a collaboration.
getting the
build.
boats.
That would be good. Damn, this is
Yeah,
great.
that would be interesting. We actually tried to do a pool stick on one of the lathes at my school, but when it got too narrow, there was too much of a flex on it. I didn't have like a steady rest that goes with the wheels and spin. So it was real sketchy with doing that. So now I know the oar is not going to be that narrow, but big stuff, I haven't ventured into big stuff yet. So
You have like a bed extension for your tailstock to do longer stuff then?
no, not yet. We have the 2540 Powermatics, so you can spread the tailstock and headstock really far away from each other. And so you could turn half a pool stick at a time on it. Which is
Spread them together, yeah.
32 inches, I think. Maybe 30 inches, I think we can do. And it's definitely sketchy. Definitely sketchy.
Tim, that's actually why they came out, to the best of my knowledge, that's why they came out with the two-piece sticks for mass production, because of the wobble.
Oh, interesting.
I bet. And it was the student that said he wanted to try it. And if the kid says he wants to try it, I'm game. I'll do it. But I don't think we had the right material in terms of like good straight line grain stuff. So when he turned it, everything turned great except for that vibration. And we had to do a lot more sanding to try to keep it round than it was with tools. And we tried to do like the split end with the pattern and everything. And we got it close. And the student was tickled pink, but there was a slight little kink in the pool stick. But to say that you made that in high school, I think that's a pretty, snazzy thing. Say, hey, I made a pool stick. And we literally went out and he bought, I can't remember, the legit fasteners and the hardware and everything. And, we went to the T with what we did. So it was really cool. This was all pre-Instagram. I think we did this.
It's awesome.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a cool experience. It really, really was a cool experience. And I'm glad I tried it. That's like with this resin stuff the kids are starting to do. We started to do that at school, and I am learning more than the kid is, probably. And trying to teach them what, different techniques and different things about calculating the area and stuff like that. But, we still made mistakes. Like we did a resin pour yesterday. We made some big mistakes yesterday. And I'm not really happy we made the mistakes, but you learn from it. And unfortunately, I think I learned more than the kid learned.
Hey, Tim, I came across this today coincidentally. In 1994, I did Marilyn Monroe, Elvis, and some weird graphics like this. This was all for pool cues. And so it's just weird. We're talking about pool sticks. Wild art form in the wood turning business. Very difficult to accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm no star-studded wood turner, I can tell you that much. But I mean, I know more than probably the average person, and but I have to do the research. The kid says he wants to do a pool stick. It's definitely one of those things where you got to sit down and try to figure out how the heck are these things made. And unfortunately, you have to make one and fail in order to learn. And in this case, and I tell the kids, like, listen, you're learning way more than, I'm learning way more than you are. And sometimes it's just at the expense of you. But like I said, the kid was tickled pink. We used like oil-based finish on it, which I hate using with students when we did that pool stick. But I was happy, when it threaded together, and it was like one of those things you were like, holy crap, I can't believe we made that here. And I'm ecstatic, and the kid's ecstatic, and the kid gets to go home with it.
Tim, this chuck right here, this looks really cool. What is that?
That's actually my personal truck that I have an adapter, and it's got pen jaws on it. And what we do is we just mount up a little chunk of wood 3/4 by 3/4, and we can literally drill a hole in the center of that piece.
That's cool. It's like polished. It looks really cool. Or maybe because it's moving.
I think that was a moving picture. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I took that last week.
So that allows you to do pens on a full size lathe?
Well, that enables you to drill the blanks out so that you don't have to do them on the drill press and try to hold the little piece and get it in the center.
Gotcha.
So the lathe spins the blank, and then you just use the tailstock to crank the 7mm drill in, and then you can do it. Now the kid's fingers aren't in the way, and you don't have to worry about getting the drill press to be 100% because the axis on the lathe is almost dead on. Maybe a couple 100,000ths off, if anything, but it's going to be dead on, and you're not going to waste a lot of material. Not that a pen blank is a lot of material, but in the end, it all adds up, especially the brass tubes, because you got to glue brass tube in there.
All right. I still have my pen that I made with Nick. There you go.
Yeah, Nick's the pen aficionado, not me.
Oh, yeah. Nick knows what he's doing. Winston, are you following Tim and Nick? What you could do is just go here.
Yeah, no, I definitely do. No, I follow all you guys,
cool.
and that's the best part of this is just seeing what other guys are doing. So getting ideas.
That's great. Yeah, it's amazing what's going on with this, with the connections happening now. That is so cool.
It's funny you say that, and you were talking about this earlier about Instagram and making connections, and what impact do you have when you put something out on the internet? And it was funny because yesterday I got a message on Instagram, and it was a guy that teaches about 25 miles from me. And he goes, "Hey, I saw that you have a laser. I want to ask you a few questions about it. And I want to ask you about, your idea." And literally it was just me taking a picture of the laser and the cabinet I put in, which led to him saying, let me ask Tim to see what he's got, and let me get his opinion and advice. And I spoke to him for 25 minutes. Now I haven't talked to this guy in probably 10 years. And I sent him my number and I said, hey, give me a call. And he called me and I talked to him 25 minutes today, which is great because you make all these connections and it's like, what impact do you have? And I was talking to a former student of mine that I had that is actually a shop teacher now. We're trying to get on the podcast. And, I'm all like humble and everything. And she's like, no, she goes, you have no idea that you are a major, I hate this. I don't know what word to say. I mean, influencer, if you will, in the program and where it's been now and how I do what we do currently. And it's like, no, stop it. You're blowing smoke. And she's like, no, seriously. And it's, it's that whole impact that you don't realize you make, every day. And even just posting stuff on the internet and on Instagram. And I think that's what's great about this. Ron and I didn't talk to each other for a while. And then we just met up from listening to the podcast. And, now we talk every week we talk and we text and everything.
Tim, I saw you at Rob Ida's, right?
Yeah.
So funny. I knew him because they have this local New Jersey connection thing, like the Tech Ed Association. But then we saw each other at like a hot rod event, like a specialty hot rod event. And then he's like, yeah, I'm into cars. I was like, oh, cool. And then we ended up talking. And then I guess when we started, we would see each other once a year at the events or whatever. But then once we started this, it became regular and it's much better. I actually didn't really know Tim. I didn't really know you until really we got to talking here, even though we went in passing,
Yeah.
That's what's great about this. It gives you a chance to really get to know people. It's awesome. That's pretty cool.
And when I talked to my former student and I said to her the other day,
you guys take it for a second. I'll be right back.
When I talked to her the other day and I was mentioning this to her and it was like, I'm on this shop class podcast and everything that we do and we just with the connection. She goes, no, I know. She goes, I know. And it's like, She goes, oh yeah, I know. I said, it's one of those things, you don't realize what you do and everything that's going on. And that's what's kind of great about this whole thing.
Well, shoot, I wouldn't be connected to anybody. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I was just going to say it. Aaron and I know we've had this discussion and we've kind of been mind blown with a lot of you gentlemen, shop teachers kind of collaborating because it's cool to see. Especially sometimes, especially even builders like us, we kind of feel isolated in our own little worlds, running our businesses and doing our thing. And especially teachers like yourselves, who you guys are from different parts of the country, and kind of having that quick moment or long moment to collaborate has been I've been so happy to watch you guys do this kind of stuff and meeting some of you, hopefully meet more of you down the road. And it's cool to see. Good on you guys for continuing down that path.
Hey, Chris, do you know what a shop teacher and a contractor have in common?
I don't know, but you're going to tell me, aren't you?
And we're probably going to laugh, right, Mark?
Not at what I say, Tim. So the one thing we all have in common is we both need to use a broom.
True.
True statement.
Yeah.
Now, if we could just get Chris to wear a tool belt every day, we'd.
You know what?
Never gonna happen.
Around for this conversation, I found out why Chris has a problem with tool belts, because his is still the one with the cord. He needs the battery-powered tool belt, and then he'll be fine. He's got that old corded tool belt, and they're a real pain. It's his.
Is it like one of those child leashes that somebody walks around him and like if he goes too far, they yank him back? Is that kind of what it's like?
That's my Bob, the guy who works with me. That's Bob.
I like how you call him my Bob. Oh, that's my Bob.
Oh yeah.
It's way different than anybody else's Bob. I mean, obviously, right? But on a serious note, it's amazing. You guys are making connections that you probably otherwise wouldn't. and I live semi-isolated location, a really small market, and internet, Instagram, shop class podcasts, stuff like that. It's all been invaluable in, talking with other people, mentoring other people, having other people mentor me. Because you can't know everything. You just can't. Yeah, it's truly been unbelievable.
I know, especially too, kind of just so all of you gentlemen know too, there's anything Aaron and I can do to help support you guys and your goals and missions with your students, reach out to us, because we would be ecstatic to do our due diligence and help you in any way, shape, or form we can. Because that's just
I'm
what we're
waiting
here
for Matt's. Sorry to cut you off, Chris, but I'm waiting for Matt's crew to come teach us stuff, because they're killing it.
Yep.
Their numbers. Wow, that's seriously, Matt. That's impressive, man. That is.
Oh yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's hey Liam, quiet please. Yeah. Well, and the thing is, I got to just like we all been sitting here talking. I got to credit to Instagram connections, Steve Basic, Jake Bruton, Mike Gurton. The guys who Emily Mottram, the whole BS and Beer crew. They. Oh, see you, Winston. Yeah, if it wasn't for Instagram and a message I sent to Steve and him just kind of responding back and this was just on a comment on a post, that's what kicked this all off, and it's been crazy. We got some even crazier fun things coming up, and I was really bummed I had to miss JLC, just because I haven't all the people I got to meet when I was finally down in IBS in February is the other half of the people. I guess the Canadian group was all at the JLC one, but yeah, for next year, my plan is to have the IBS Midwest Building Symposium, which is usually an easy one for me to get to, and then of course JLC Live, and then whatever else comes about and stuff. But I'm gonna get those scheduled on professional development days with the schools right away and get it all lined up and subs in place and all that good stuff, so that way they know I'm gone.
Yeah.
Don't worry,
There's just too many good things that come out of it.
We'll be there.
Ron, can you show the maker camp?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if Aaron saw it, but
That's a good one.
But I tell you, Chris, I don't know if you saw it either. I think it was Nick, Duke,
Right.
Tim, Ron, and about a dozen other folks. This was really good, and I've been trying. Matt's not doing a lot in Taylorville. I've been trying to push Matt to see if he could do a maker camp down there, and we could all jump in and have a wildfire. But check this; it's really awesome. It's impressive.
We have been taught. Well, the Sashiko group, Mark, Charlotte especially. She's got big ideas. We got some big hopes and dreams, and I would really like to. And I know it takes quite a bit of doing. It'd be nice, especially if we get centered around like the Midwest Building Science Symposium or something. But my plan would be at one point try to get everyone together. That I'll say the Instagram crew, I guess, whatever, however you want to do it. Make kind of like a big deal about it and stuff, and get people in, and then at the house and all that stuff. Yeah,
get the Insta-fam together.
Yeah. So we have some ideas, and it's not just for us to get together and have some fun. It's also it'll be a beneficial thing for the students. Bringing this kind of people in, and I keep telling my students, and they'll ask me. I go, guys, you can, if you don't want to stay local, just tell me where you want to go. And they'll be like, oh, how about Australia? I'm like, okay, yeah, I know Brad in Australia. He wants some people to hire. And they're like, are you serious? I'm like, yes. I go, you want to go to Canada? You want to go to BC? You want to go out there? I guess, I don't know, Aaron, you over there by Oak Island or whatever? You out there helping dig? I'm a big fan of the show. I'm always watching to see if your house pops up. That's we have connections anywhere, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York. I talk to Jeremy Castle all the time. Me and him. That's another person I want to get connected with, and we actually need to bring him on the show as well. Like just another smart guy, JLC. Didn't he? I don't want to say performed. Didn't he do sessions there?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Jeremy's
So
dude.
I don't want to
Yeah.
cut you off, Matt, but Jeremy did a couple sessions, and yeah. So funny story, and I hate to interrupt you, but me and Jeremy have talked for a couple years because of Instagram, and we had this sweet spot moment where me and Jeremy went to lunch, and that was it. It was just me and Jeremy, and that was it, and it was wonderful. I hated to cut you off, but sorry about that.
Oh no. That you're fine, perfect. Yeah, and so yeah, Jeremy, another good one that and me and him talk back and forth, and he's another one that I don't know if he it's Castle with a K, Ron. If you're looking him up, he's in New York. He's upstate New York, right?
Albany. Yeah.
But he's another one. I don't know if he really totally understands just the knowledge he has to share. Like I think he's still too humble, which is good. But I love watching his builds, and we him and I actually talk back and forth. If not monthly, bi-weekly, voice messages on it. Just about whatever. We just collaborated on because he gave me the whole putting the nail in the floor for the mark so you could find your light marks for cutting out the holes on the ceiling. It's KASSEL, I believe, Ron.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, because I was talking about these X's. He's like, oh, Matt, put a nail in the floor. He goes, I keep meaning to do a post. And I was like, well, here, whenever I talk about it, I'll just collaborate with you, and that way it's done. You don't have to worry about it and stuff. And then he messaged me back. He's like, I've never done one of these collaborations. He's like, I'm getting people that I have no idea who these people are. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, that happens. I go, because with some of the build show people collaborated with me, and I'm like, who in the heck are these people? But at the same time, I also got connected to some really talented drywall finishers and plumbers, thanks to Eric and Lydia from Build Show. And that's the thing. It just, at least, you get into one person to the other person, especially you guys that have bigger followings, especially the Build Show guys. I mean, they that platform's huge. And it just, like I tell my students, because they'll always ask me, like, are you Insta famous? I'm like, no. I said, but my friends are, and they're really nice and generous. And I go, and the thing is now, because of me, because of them, to you guys, you're connected to them too. So if one of them was like looking for a job, Jake Bruton messaged me a couple of years ago. Was like, hey, you got anybody want to move to Columbia? And we set that up. So
hey, that's a big dog pencil.
Nice. But that's the thing. We have access to all these people, or you guys know people are looking for people to work with. I tell the kids, we're just a couple Instagram messages away from getting you an interview. So
here's another quick little story about Jeremy Castle. 99% of the tips that he has shared, he has sent to somebody else so they could share it. A genuinely lovely human being. I think that's all I got. Really.
That's
cool. I mean, I love this stuff because I'm really seeing like the work ethic and the camaraderie ethic in a way. Like it's awesome. And then I get to see really cool houses getting built and like wild stuff like this. Why does he have it on a diagonal? That's so cool. I guess that helps in some way, and I'll probably learn why, Very cool.
We're not going to tell you to next JLC, Ron.
Yeah.
Next JLC, that's where we're going to let you in on that one.
That's fun. Oh, by the way, it was amazing. Mark, I was listening to Passive House Live. I was telling them earlier, the show right before this one. And it was really funny that the guy was so diligent in his cost-effective list, and then the New Yorker comes on and just blows up the whole thing.
That particular New Yorker and I have battled it out. He knows that that he's supposed to ask one question, and what he does is he elaborates for 2 minutes, says a statement after statement, and as soon as he asks the question, he cuts the person off and asks another question. And every time I'm like, the phrase forearm shiver echoes in my head, and it's like, oh my gosh. And Peter, you were there. It was a tough one, Ron.
Yeah.
You always have to be careful in live shows that the first person that talks is someone that sets the tone for the room. And we lost 15 people in 2 minutes because of that. And it's not that everyone doesn't have a right to share what's in their heart of hearts. It's, sometimes you got to check yourself at the door before you wreck the room.
Well, I mean, yeah, he was just arguing over prices, but nobody was like backing it up. So it's just like, hey, it's this price. And the other guy's like, no, it's not. They're like, yes, it is. It became a teenager thing. I was just laughing because I'm out of it. I'm just like, oh my God. All right. But I mean,
Daniel was a really good speaker, and he actually turned it back over, right? If you saw his technique, he's like, well, actually tell me more. And most people, they cower, and Jeff's a tough New Yorker. He doesn't cower. He just pushes back.
No, it was good. It was absolutely good. But it's been amazing that, all these people are collaborating. I love going to, if I have time, I go to your show first, and then I come here. Passive House Accelerator. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so this has been great. What, I lost my place. Where were we? Oh, Matt and the house. I'm so sorry. I diverted the topic there. Let's get back on track. But Matt's doing such a good job with the house. It's unbelievable, So yeah, we got to get Jeremy on here. And so we have a good list going. Next week, we've got Harbor Freight. Tay is going to announce, Harbor Freight Tools for Schools. They give away millions to, actually, Matt knows. How much do they give away to the high school teachers?
I think it's 1.5 million, all combined. And this year, they've said they're doing 5 grand prizes, which is $100,000. And assuming your school, we don't want to get Timmy fired up on this. Assuming your school, state, or district allows the teacher to receive the money, they get 30% of that. So $100,000, $30,000 check goes straight to the teacher. And then I think maybe 16 second place, which is $50,000 to your program, and the teacher gets $15,000 of that. So this is, I believe, their 5th year. Last year I was a finalist. We've had plenty of guys on here and gals that have done, one at Barber Check, obviously, one of the originals of the Shop Class Podcast. He was a 2nd place winner. And I think the 2nd one ever given. He was early on. So,
oh, yeah. It was brand new then.
This will be my 3rd time applying. And as any teachers that applied for it will tell you, it's a process. The good thing is once you've done it the first year, you can copy and paste a lot of this stuff and you just update. Hold on. Yep, perfect. You definitely put in. They make you put in the time to earn the money and stuff, but it's quite an impressive philanthropy they got going on. And the Harbor Freight and Harbor Freight Tools for Schools they're separate entities, but obviously, part of the Harbor Freight umbrella. So yeah, very cool what they're doing. So if any other teachers happen to be reading this, they just launched that. Was that last week? 2 weeks ago when they opened that up?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, I think it was last week. It was last Wednesday, Thursday. They sent that out.
And it's such a cool thing that that they're willing to come on the show and give us like in detail situation, of the ins and outs of this. Here's like kind of like a new revamped website a little bit, and we've had a bunch of the finishers on the show here. So it's been a real good community builder. This is pretty cool.
Is it just United States or is it North? No, it's just United States because I remember Connor was asking because it doesn't go up in Canada yet. That is one kicker for our Canadian crews on here. So I don't know if Harbor Freight's in Canada, but whatever.
We have Princess Auto.
Whoever you guys need to talk to get it going. Tony Hortons, I guess. I don't know. They could.
Canadian Tire is a good one. They got some good Canadian Tire cash.
You have no idea, Mark.
Yeah,
no idea.
Stacks of Canadian Tire cash.
Canadian Tire cash. Is that a franchise? Canadian Tire. Oh man.
I'm not saying it's a thing, but one time I was in Minneapolis and I bought a Whopper with Canadian Tire money.
Yeah, Sean Samore's dad, whenever he went to the States, he always used Canadian Tire cash. It was hilarious. It's a true story.
Wait, what are you guys talking about? Canadian Tire cash? I don't get it.
They give you cash, and you can only use it at the store. But in the States, people don't know the left from the right, and they accept it as currency.
So Canadian Tire, which is it's a franchise, but it's basically a national institute. You go to Canadian Tire, and they give you a certain percentage of money back on every purchase, and it's basically like monopoly money. It's just Canadian Tire money. And I literally was at a Burger King in Minneapolis in the 90s, and I bought a Whopper with Canadian Tire.
Am I in the right spot?
Yeah, you're there. You're there.
So it's not tires. It's everything.
Oh, that's how it started, and now it's just everything.
Oh, I thought it
You
was
can
like
get
a tire
air
shop.
fryers there.
It's Amazon in Canada.
That's what I was gonna say. Tim.
In Canada, but
Good analogy.
you can go there, get your oil changed, summer tires put on, pick up a gallon of paint, a furnace filter, an air fryer, and depending on the store you go to.
Aaron, you can't forget about the hot dog guy outside too.
You can actually buy a car too. Oh my god! Oh, shop buy car. Yeah, okay, not the whole car. Wow, this is crazy. You learn something new every day. This is awesome.
It's basically Ron. It's the equivalent of Costco.
Oh, I see. Okay, I got it. Yeah, it's everything. That's so funny.
You can get your paper towel, your cleaning liquids, and your cooking pots, and your screwdrivers, cord oil. Go ahead.
It's so funny. This thing's enormous. I've never even heard of it. It's just like, wow, what the? Oh my god, I gotta try. I haven't been to Canada. I've been to Niagara Falls. That's it.
Now, Ron, there's only one store that's better in Canada than Canadian Tire.
Yeah.
It's called the Beer Store.
Oh yeah. There you go.
No, honestly, Ron, that's the name of the store.
What?
Honestly, it's called the Beer Store. It's the greatest store you've ever been to in your life. I used to drive up to Windsor when I was 19 and fill up the trunk with what do you call them, wobbly pops, right?
It's literally called the Beer Store.
Oh yeah.
To be fair, it was called the Cold Beer Store.
Sure. Yep.
Because we're in the north, right? So it had to be cold.
Yeah. This is funny.
But everything's cold up there.
That's the whole point.
This is true. Very,
Now,
very.
hold on a minute. Windsor is actually south of Detroit, okay?
Yeah, that's true. It is. When you're 19 and American, there's no such thing as logistics or north or south. It's just over by there.
Yeah,
The other side of the river.
everything in Canada is north and cold.
Not so. The Point Pelee National Park is at the same latitude as the northern part of California. Go ahead.
It's cold there.
We have 3 deserts that I know of in Canada. There's multiple microclimates. At the same time, Alaska's cold. And last time I checked, that was part of the United States.
No, I know. I'm just giving you guys a hard time.
Yeah, I know. And we're just shooting back as best we can, eh?
You know what? I've been to Alaska and it's phenomenal. Phenomenal. I loved Alaska. So I could actually admit it's not always cold up there.
I actually have a friend that I've made because of Instagram who does another podcast. It's the Contractor's Handbook. Mike Kanochi does a podcast.
Oh yeah,
and
we had Mike on
he's
here.
I have another excuse to go to Alaska. So yeah.
So Ron, to add to it, the $1 coin is called the loonie, and the $2 is called the toonie.
What?
Yeah.
Run that again.
The $1 coin is called the loonie. The $2 coin is called the toonie.
And is that for the Canadian Tire store?
No, that's that's real money.
Real money. Okay. I thought you were talking about the Canadian Tire store money that you're buying Whoppers with.
Well, that's official currency. That's because on the obverse it has the etching of a loon, and so it got nicknamed the loonie. And then later on, they terminated the $2 paper bill, brought out the $2 coin, so it rhymes. Toonie.
The only thing that doesn't work in Canada is called Trudeau.
I didn't want to
Not
say anything.
Trudeau,
I've heard some stories.
but that's not Trudeau.
I'm slowly dying.
Yeah, that's funny. That's good. Hey, is Dave Winston still here? Or Winston Davis? Sorry.
No, he
No.
signed off.
We got to get him connected with Mike Kanoki. Probably is. Cool. So we were talking about next week is Harbor Freight, but the week after we're going to have a manufacturing technology instructor from the Seattle area, and I think he was a Boeing employee for a while, so that's coming up. I think he's big into CNC milling, which is going to be cool. And then
Do you have his copy of the machinery's handbook handy?
Oh, you have to have that one.
Oh, gotta have it. I got my 3 copies.
Yeah. What version are they on? 690, right?
31 has gone digital.
Okay.
30 was the last print.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that thing's good. It's basically geometry, but for metal.
Wait, what is that? Is that the that real thick material book that's like 85,000 pages thick?
Mm-hmm.
I have an older version. I think I might have
All my books are upstairs now.
15, maybe.
Yeah. Definitely.
Can I have my book? Okay, I'll get it.
Oh, did someone put their hand up? Is that what happened?
I have a question. Does anyone know what the little acorn said when he grew up?
No.
Peter, you know the answer because you're laughing.
I'm only laughing because I know what's probably coming next.
Go ahead, deliver.
Geometry.
Oh,
Good.
Mark, we can always count on you, can't we?
I might have to use that one tomorrow in class.
That's good. That's good.
Hey, Tim, if they laugh, tell them I said it. If they don't, tell them that came from Ron.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. We also have after Evan is gonna be Sam from Retro Tech, the blower door. So that's gonna be Retro Tech.
I need to see if Sam will send me one of those the little vent ones like Travis has been using, Aaron and Mark.
The red door of truth, Ron.
Yeah, man, this is the coolest.
Sam is the bomb. Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, I've heard him talk before. He's good.
Is this Sam right here?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to talk to him. That'll be so cool.
Well, what's interesting, if you go back to that picture, Ron,
Yeah,
so
that's a double.
that's actually, they developed those boxes to keep your pizza warm when they deliver it. That's actually their claim to fame. But a lot of people don't know that. They're all hung up on this building sign stuff. But technically, it's what made Domino's and Little Caesars who they are today. A lot of people don't know that.
Little known fact. You know, it's funny. I had a friend who worked in, well, he still does. He works in a company called Phase Change.
Oh yeah, Oak Ridge Labs does amazing phase change material. It's
Oh,
amazing.
really?
Yeah, they do the testing of it. Oh, that stuff. This thick, Ron. You can get the R value like bigger than Kingspan. It's like an R24 per inch.
And is it the same thing that I'm thinking of? Is that it's a melting temperature that's slightly below room temperature, so it
When these questions come up, I just say have Nick answer because I'm going to sound like an idiot.
I mean, basically, I think it's some sort of like, because when you try and go through the phase, it takes more energy to either freeze it or unfreeze it than it does to just pass through once you're in the phase. I don't fully understand it, but it's basically room temperature frozen material that then will keep that temperature. It's basically like a heat or cool battery.
Yeah, it's kind of like the technology that Venom and Carnage used that Spider-Man didn't understand. It's really light years away.
Yeah. So, but they used to make pizza boxes. That was their thing. So when you said
Correct.
that, I was like, it jogged a memory. I was like, oh yeah. And my buddy makes the machine that they take the auger, they throw the shmoo, in the top, and then it gets just like almost like ketchup packets. There's a film that gets heated, sealed, and then it gets sealed and then cut. But it does this very fast, like.
It's kind of like flavor ice, only you don't want to eat it.
Exactly. It's like little ices, right? It's so funny. Cool. And then we got more. No, 27th is open. Okay, and then coming in May.
Hold on, if the 27th is open, Chris, do you think Damani would present?
You want me to get Damani on this show? Because I'm sure he'll be game.
He is such a good communicator. That guy's like smooth.
Absolutely. Let me know a date. I'll get him.
Yeah, 27th and on is open. Just if you throw a date at him and he got it, let me know right away because we're starting to book up people. That's great. So who is that?
He's and Lewis is pretty cool too. That guy's a talker. He's almost a sleeper, right? And all of a sudden, he hands you the string and you pull it, and he don't stop.
Lewis is a wizard. The dude is highly intelligent and very experienced in this world, and he is a great fit for what they are looking for. That whole Diamondback crew they care. They are.
So it's
And
Diamondback
Damani has like an excellent.
Diamondback Damani. Go ahead, Aaron.
I was just gonna say he also has like, these very broad ranging interests. Like if you want to talk culinary for a moment, all of a sudden like you've gone from tool belts to cooking, and it's just a wild experience. Really, especially
Oh,
a situation like this.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. This guy, yeah.
Now I know what Ron's excited about. He found people he knows.
Yeah, I met him right there, right?
That
No,
is
that's
Connor. Yeah,
that's
he is
Connor.
the owner of Diamondback.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I met him. He was super cool. We talked for like a minute, and I knew he was cool. It was funny to talk to him.
Definitely a wild character. Dude comes from a law background. He used to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lawyer
crazy.
turned tool belt manufacturer. That's a unique shift in life.
Yeah,
That's
crazy.
Damani in the middle.
Yeah, right
All
there.
right. Got it. Boom.
There you go.
Hell yeah, let's get this guy on. Absolutely.
Great dude, and they are, especially to anything they can do to help support the trades. They have been huge.
Kyle from RR Building.
Yes, Kyle.
Was this at the show? Was this at?
Yeah.
Yep.
Really?
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
I
Got
missed
You got
the
Garrett. You
Mexican
got Garrett in there
carpenter
too.
Yep, Garrett's in there. He was there. Kyle was there.
David.
He was
Howard
there
the
for a
Flex.
while.
This is wild. This is like the Instagram, the whole family. It's like everyone's here. It's crazy.
The guy on the right with the skull shirt is David. He did Jimmy's, what do you call it, concrete at his new barn.
Oh wow.
Right here?
Yeah.
No kidding.
He did whose concrete, Nick?
Jimmy's. He was
The rest of us.
David's from Maryland, and that's where he does most of his business. But he was up in Hudson doing he was calling it the Orchard House, and David reached out to Jimmy and said, I can do your concrete. And so,
Dang.
Well, didn't Kyle put up Jimmy's building?
yeah. And David came over during their little open house when Kyle was here putting it up, and that's how Jimmy and David met. And David ended up actually putting on the new roof on Jimmy's machine shop blacksmithing area as well. It's amazing how David and his crew come up from Maryland to, they lived in Hudson, I think, for like 3 months building the house, and then did a few more jobs around here type of thing. But
Cool. Nick. Awesome, man. That's great.
Yeah.
Can we follow him?
let's see, the Mexican Carpenter 101.
Oh, perfect.
That's one of his screen names.
Oh yeah.
Nick, you're like the Shop Class Podcast Instagram historian.
and he's a genuinely nice guy.
Sometimes.
No, I had the opportunity to meet him at JLC.
Oh,
and
David? Yeah.
Yeah. No, and
Yeah, he's
I
a
mean,
great guy. He's very knowledgeable, and
yeah, absolutely. It was, it's one of those things where somebody follows you and you follow them, but you don't really understand each other. Then you have a moment to meet, and it's like you have this aha moment, and there's mutual understanding. And yeah, no, it was an amazing part of the show. Absolutely.
That's cool. Wow, look at this thing.
yeah, that's the Orchard House.
Oh,
If you go back through his timeline, you'll see some amazing, carpentry skills that he had to
wow, that's
perform.
cool looking. I like
Like
this
the front
little
door, I
area.
think, looks like a huge cask. Like it's probably an 8-foot, 10-foot diameter round, and the board's put in the middle of it. And
Wait, what are these? Are these like tiny homes?
yeah, I think that was.
Oh,
He has something similar to that in his backyard as his shop.
oh, isn't Sean working on a passive shed right now? kind of in a similar way.
Yeah, he's calling it the pH. It's the fart shack
Oh yeah,
with a pH
that's right.
for his father.
Yeah, that's cool.
Also with a pH, father.
Actually, Ron, we should see about getting him in because he needs votes. He's trying to win 25K right now. And you can vote daily. It's just like Chicago.
Yeah, I sent in some a donation. This is a cool looking door. Jesus. Oh my god. Wow. Yeah, let's get on to Sean right here.
With that door, he's come full circle.
Peter, that's your best one so far. That's funny. Here we go. Yeah, so he's got this. Where is it? Try and find it. Oh, here it is. Yeah, the fart shack. It's an art shack, but with a PH.
If you go to the link in bio, it should be a hyperlink.
Okay.
Maybe you could share it with the other shop teachers so he could start getting votes.
Boom, right here.
I say he was sitting third again still.
Oh, he's fourth.
Oh, he's fourth. He can move down. Uh-oh. He is fourth. He was third this morning or yesterday.
Oh, shit. There's only 1 day left.
I thought there was. This is like a bonus round or something because I
Yeah,
already.
he went to the first round. Oh, man.
Oh, I see.
We got to
Top
get
round
him.
is Thursday. All right, everybody, give up your money. Let's go.
No, you can vote for free, Ron.
Oh,
Send
really?
it out. Send it out
through
in
Facebook. You can do a daily vote. You get a daily vote on Facebook, and then you can do the purchase votes for the donation.
The impact vote, right?
Yeah, it's a dollar a vote because it also raises money and stuff.
And it goes to charity.
Pass the hat. Everybody's in for $20.
Yeah. Here's a. Oh, you got to go to Facebook. I don't think I'm.
Send it out in a newsletter tomorrow morning there, Bloomquist.
Oh, yeah. Mark, make sure I have the proper links. I'm pretty sure I have all the links.
Here. This is. I don't know. This is like a long link, but you could.
I'm pretty sure I got it. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Cool.
I voted a couple times for him, and then I do I get the daily Facebook vote for him, and so.
Nice.
Because then will he get to meet? Was it Mark Bowe or whatever from Barnwood Builders?
Yeah, Mark Bowe. He would be good to have on the show. He's like the only guy besides Mike Holmes that I think is actually worth shaking hands with. In terms of the dudes from television, there's a few cool chicks out there I would shake hands with. I do like Mark Bowe.
Yeah, he's a good old boy.
Well, those guys, the way they communicate with each other, like if people don't laugh at what they say, then there's something wrong with you because they're just hilarious.
Yeah.
Backwoods, Kentucky is kind of nice. Barnwood Builders are great.
They're from West Virginia.
Yep.
Yeah, but
They go all over, but yeah.
they go all over. But they're let me see, character names. Sorry.
Yeah, the old guy.
Yeah, he's 70. He comes from Kentucky and also Sherman. They were neighbors. They worked in, and then they work for Mark in Virginia. You're right, but their home, their origin, they took down a barn there, and they toured through some of their old childhood stomping grounds and where they grew up, and they showed us that on TV. It was kind of nice.
We might have to vote, Nick. I think Peter's become the new historian.
Nice.
I have a broad range of interests as well, and my mother-in-law says I know everything about everything. I said, no, I actually don't, but I don't know how much I don't know yet.
When she says that, do you say that's what she said?
There you go. Hey, so it's pretty crazy, but so we not to shift gears or anything, but in May we're going to have an AI expert on. This guy JT Kosman. He actually is involved with AI recommendations to the government, and he's on like a high level. This guy showed up to one of my classes on the weekend, and I had no idea the caliper. So once I figured out who this guy is, I was like, oh my God. So I'm actually going to get a beer with him so he can give me like a download. And then we're going to,
hold on, Ron. Did you pour beer on the table and teach him how to weld with his finger?
he took one of my classes. I did do that. Absolutely. That's what I do at my classes. Here he is right here. Renowned data scientist, Dr. J.T. Kosman took Mr. G's welding class. What the hell? That's like, oh my God. So anyway, I asked him if he wants to come on the show. So he'll give us kind of, what's cool? He talks about it in a reasonable way. He was actually a Navy SEAL, and he's kind of like down to earth as far as like, he just talks about it. He's not going to go like off in another planet, which is, and the AI is crazy. The AI is coming up. I don't know. Anyway, so there's a lot going on coming up, but maybe we'll just wrap it up right here. This is pretty good.
Ask him to explain what the metaverse is.
Oh yeah, he probably invented the metaverse. I don't even know what's going on. It's crazy. We're in the metaverse right now. We're like hanging out, and I'm in my garage. Chris is over there and north of Vancouver. I don't know what's going on over there. It's so funny. It's like amazing.
Us northern folk, right?
Yeah.
Mark, I thought you're the historian of the metaverse or the internet.
I have my legs cut off from under me. I nothing but bruises and broken bones now, dude.
That's from softball and volleyball.
Yeah, when we were in high school, brother.
That's how you know you've traveled, Mark.
Man, this is good. This is good. So, and when's the next big builder show? I guess that's IBS, right?
So the AIA convention is in June in Chicago. The Passive House Institute convention is in June in Boston. The Midwest Building Science Symposium is in September in Kansas City, Missouri. And the FIAS Passive House Convention is October in Chicago. And in April, New York Geo is in Albany. And mid-April, Mass Timber Conference is in Oregon. Those are the big ones.
I cannot keep track of all that. That was amazing. There was a lot going on.
Yeah, I'm not going to most of them. They're pretty boring, to be fair. But the one in Oregon, I'm not going to. I would like to. That Mass Timber one is the hottest thing out there. All of us, I think, would appreciate the skills of that fine group. They're pretty exemplary. And they've done it, since they were little tykes. They're the real deal.
Also, there's also the is it BPI Institute? Geez, I'm trying to find it now, but I met the people from.
Yeah, the Building Performance Institute is meeting in Tennessee real soon.
I met Larry from that, and he's going to jump on the podcast as well.
Corbett Lunsford presents their tools. What's his name? Tool by Design. Travis. Travis is going to be there, and probably Nate from Insulation Unlimited. Probably Brant from what does Brant call his thing? The
tool hacker.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Those guys will probably be there for that.
So I met Larry from the BPI, and
and you had Joe on. I missed him. Joe Matt, all of you guys know Joe now, but Joe is one of the biggest trainers of BPI after Corbett left. I really was upset that I didn't get to see Joe. He's one of my favorite presenters, and he's a cool dude.
Nice. Oh yeah. Yeah, we
Real
had
kind of
Joe
wacky.
on. Yeah, last week.
Yep.
That was a good one. He's awesome. He was serious. It was so cool.
Yeah, Joe's a real teacher. There you go. He's amazing. He's fun, man. Like if you want to stay out late, hang with Joe. He'll be there.
Wow. Yeah, he's got energy. That was cool. We learned a lot. And we talked about the blower door and whatnot. He's I think, a different company than Retrotech, but either way, it's not about the, you know what I mean? You got to know how to use the tool.
Some people are Ford, some are Chevy, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just how it goes. Some people are Miller, some are Lincoln.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I believe he runs the Minneapolis blower door, which is still the red door of truth.
Yeah.
Just
Why are they all red? Is it just because?
well, if you know, you know.
Oh.
If you know, you know.
Oh.
There's a gentleman by the name of Marcus Broski. He's a third generation red door aficionado, and he started Pizza Roll University, and it's their family that christened the first red door, and to this day we all just follow it. In fact, he taught Harold Orr, which is pretty incredible.
Did you just make all that up?
But Harold Orr, to the best of my knowledge, invented the first blower door. It still exists. I've never seen it, but I'm told this is true, Ron.
I can't tell if you're being serious or not.
No, I'm serious. I'm told if you go to Harold Orr's house and you knock and you ask him to see the first blower door, that he'll show it to you.
What's his name? Harold? What?
Oh, Harold Orr. He created the first passive house. Harold Orr is iconic. You can't take anything. He invented the ERV. He invented the blower door. Incredible Canadian. True story. Honest to God.
You have to come to Regina, Canada, to see the conservation house. It's called the conservation house.
I thought,
and it's why on Sundays all Canadians have garlic fingers.
You can't tell them the secrets, Aaron.
No, you gotta have pizza and garlic fingers. That's like everybody knows.
Garlic what?
Yeah. Okay. Come to Regina, Canada. Go to the conservation house.
All right.
Actually, you can Google this. You can Google this, Ron. The conservation house is a real thing.
In Saskatchewan. It's right near Regina, Saskatchewan. It was the very first passive.
I feel that's the only real thing they're telling us.
No, honest to God, Duke. He invented the ERV. He invented the blower door, and he still has the original one.
Actually, the original name for the ERV was the Saskatoon Loop.
Is that true?
That is true.
What is this? This is the Passipedia?
Oh, this is real, Ron.
It's a real thing, bro.
House encyclopedia?
One of the people that took a little bit of time out of their life to mentor me all along the way worked on these projects. They worked with Harold. And when they were inventing the HRV, the ERV, it was a plywood box with a bunch of like elbows inside it. And they called it the Saskatoon Loop. Because, I mean, they were in Saskatchewan, right? It just made sense to them to call it that. And, yeah. And then we had garlic fingers.
When we started competing in the Olympics, it was actually Harold Orr that gave Americans right-hand sticks to give them a chance, because in Canada, they only use left-hand sticks. That's actually true, too. There's more left-handed sticks in Canada than in all of America. That is a true story.
Duke, are
That
you
is a
able to keep
sinister
up?
thought, Mark. That is really sinister.
Yeah, but it's
Dexter Sinister.
true.
Dexter Sinister, Dexter Sinister. Come on, you got to know where that's from. Dexter
I don't-
Sinister, Dexter Sinister.
I don't know that one, but I've been in every hockey stick manufacturing place in Canada. I can guarantee you they're left-handed sticks.
What'd you guys bring back from Rhode Island?
Oh,
Podcast, dude, what can I say?
what did we bring back? What did we leave behind?
Yeah. Love it. Ron, I tell you what, Harold Orr, if Harold Orr wasn't here, we'd all be in uncomfortable buildings. The man is incredible.
Actually, in North America, we did a horrible job. We really did. So this house happened, and there was several conventions that happened after this house, and basically we all stood around and we patted ourselves on the backs, and just about every other country in the world took this information, went back home, and ran with it. They ran with it.
In
And we went,
1972,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
More or less 50 years ago, if you use imperial math.
A little more, a little less if you're using metric.
Stop. Okay, wait. Okay, am I right that this is tipped so that it gets the maximum sunlight? That is
And
so
a wicked wrist shot with a left-handed curved hockey stick.
Do these passive doors release toxic fumes?
No, that's a myth.
Only air fryers.
This is really cool. I never understood why you'd block the sun. Why wouldn't you just always want the sun coming in, especially
Because you're overheat.
Yeah, in the summer, it overheat.
The perfect example, Ron, right? You go to the movie theater. It's a nice July day, right? It's in the afternoon. You're in the theater. You come out and you want to drive the girl up to Salisbury Hill, and you open the car door and this heat is radiating, right? And you don't want to get in the vehicle. That's why you don't have too much sun hitting your house.
okay. So then what was the advantage here? Why do they tip it up like that? Is it because there's a cold climate?
So
Maximize probably the winter angle of the sun. Like my house, I almost consider it was almost passively built because I have 2-foot overhangs. So in the summer, I don't have any direct sun that comes directly in my front windows. But in the winter, I could open my windows and I get solar gains.
Oh, wow.
And if I had, a tram wall or a water wall in the back of that particular room, I would gain those solar gains and have a battery backup of, water or masonry in the back. That's how my, energy teacher taught it to us in college. And he's up on Lake Ontario, and he always told us he's with wood, but his house was built in early 70s by him, and he was saying that he actually had open windows in the winter because it was getting so hot in his house. But in the summer, he only has to open up 2 windows on either end, and it cools it down at night. So if you build to the sun, you're taking advantage of your environment, and you over insulate and well insulate and seal everything up, you'll have a great living condition.
Interesting.
I guarantee you, Ron, that Harold Orr understands what a thermal break is more than most people you'll ever meet.
Where is this guy?
Saskatchewan.
We got to talk to him.
He still lives in this house. You can actually knock on his door. He's personable, and living legend.
Didn't
Hey,
Sean
Ron?
Ross go meet him?
IG fam road trip. That's all I'm saying. IG fam road trip. You bring Mark.
Bob
Let's go.
Kelly's coming in. Late to the game, but he's here. Bob Kelly.
Hello, Bob. How are you?
He's getting set up.
Good. Yeah.
Oh man, it's a party. There he is.
Bob.
Carol Door
No audio.
some ventilation.
This is wild. And then
He can wick right.
yes, he can wick right. It's true.
I'm in.
All right.
How you doing, everybody? It's great to see you.
Bob, just
Wow,
as
look at all
crazy
those
as
guys
ever.
Hey, Peter. Good to
We're
see
here.
you.
Hello, Bob.
Hey.
Good.
Wow, look at all these guys. Wow.
We're here.
What's everybody talking about?
We're talking about you.
You.
All right. My ears are burning. That's awesome.
We took a little road trip. We went to the Saskatchewan Passive House, Conservation House.
Superior.
Yeah. Mark was all about the RetroTech blower door, and Ron was like, "No way, man! It's Minneapolis all the way," and things went downhill from there.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny that Minnesota gets all the recognition for the Red Door of Truth when it should be called the Regina Door of Truth.
What? I just want to know why.
For everybody else.
I just want to know why it's red.
I probably
Oh, we've been through this.
because it was invented in Canada. They used to call it the Maple Leaf Door.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. There you go.
Bob, can you
Twitter
believe the
hashtag of that, Chris? Like, right?
All right. Well, I think we've floated away from JLC topic.
Hey guys, I'm going to call back in because I lost the connection. So I
no
can't
problem.
see you guys. I'm going to call you right back.
All right, we're gonna end the recording here. We're at the 2-hour mark anyway. But let's hang out for a bit. This is awesome. JLC recap party. Come here next week for Harbor Freight Tools for Schools. All right, let's end it right there. Thanks to everybody for joining us.